Yo, what's up, YouTube? This is Ben at thatcologneguy coming at you with another review. And this week, will be my second installment in my first impressions series that I'm working on, because you might remember from Cedrat Boise, I received a lovely box from a subscriber and friend, Wes. Thanks, Wes. And so he asked me to review a series of fragrances. And what I'm doing is I'm going one by one and I'm reviewing them. This today it's either called, is it Layton or Layton? I don't know how to pronounce it, but it looks like Layton, Layton, by Parfums de Marley, which is a 2016 release, and it's an oriental floral. I did things a little bit different for this installment because the last time I reviewed Cedrat Boise, which is absolutely amazing fragrance, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 just because, you know, as a first impression, I didn't know how long it would last. And in that review, what I did was I considered the longevity of it as I was wearing it on the first day. And so I decided for the rest of the box, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear these guys for like a day or two and then do a review. So that way I can really speak to the longevity and everything else, give it a better review basically. Because the last time I ended by saying something like, you know, 8 plus hours longevity seems good. I have to say, 2 days later, I was taking a walk outside, and I put on a watch that I had not worn the previous day, but I did the day before that, so 2 days when I wore the Cedrat Boise. And I put it on, I was out walking, and I thought, wow, somebody must have their laundry out. I mean, it really smelled nice. No one was around me, and I thought, I don't know where that's coming from. And sure enough, went like this. In fact, it's still on here after a week, because it was last Friday, so it was exactly a week ago. There's still a faint amount of it on there today, so on the watch. And I don't spray on my clothes, I spray on my skin, but a little bit must have gotten here. So if you like longevity, I definitely have to bump up Cedrat Boise from 8 plus to, you know, about 12 plus in full-on beast mode, I would say, in that case. That is a really nice fragrance. Get your hands on that one if you can. Okay, so for the current review, we're going to take a look at this one. And I have a few things I'd like to say about it. But I think as far as notes, really, I looked on Fragrantica, but I like to kind of talk about the notes that really stand out on my skin, because I can read, you know, the ones that they list. But I think for me, what I get out of this is apple pie, vanilla, and on the dry down, a lot of sandalwood. And I would say for me, that's what really stands out. So I'm not saying it's similar, but or I'm not saying it's a copy, but I found it similar to Eros by Versace, but no one else said that on Fragrantica, so you might not find that. But on my skin, it seemed similar to Eros by Versace, and kind of in the same realm as Boss Bottled and maybe even Lamal. Okay, I would say those. You're going to get a lot of vanilla and a lot of apple pie in this fragrance, especially on the top notes, and then the dry down, the sandalwood's going to come up and give it a different feel to it. This is not a linear fragrance for me. This is a pretty complex fragrance. As far as the opening, it's a blast of... actually, it was funny, when I first put the sample on, my daughter said it smelled like a bakery just after it had been cleaned. And I actually couldn't agree more. It smells exactly like that. It smells exactly like imagine a bakery where they made, you know, a whole bunch of apple pies, puff pastries, apple fritters, and then someone came in and cleaned the whole area, and they opened up at like 5 in the morning, and you first walk in, so you smell half of you, right? You can smell half the room, seems like, you know, cleaning products, detergent, that kind of thing, mixed with this kind of apple fritter explosion. And so overall, I would say this is not a bad. This is well blended, but I did not care for this fragrance. It didn't really do it for me. I don't really like that combination coming together. Now, what I would say is, for me personally, with the dry down, if you can get past the opening, the dry down was really good. In fact, later on, about 4 or 5 hours into this fragrance, I started thinking, did I actually just put on another fragrance or something? Because it really seemed to morph into something totally different. So I actually like the dry down, but not enough to get me to buy a full bottle of this. This is a pass for me. That's not to say it's bad. It's just not compatible with my tastes. Because it's not a bad fragrance. I just don't want to buy it. Me personally. Okay, projection was really good. People noticed it, and I felt like it projected off my skin for a good 6 hours, and that's on just a sample. So very good projection, no problems there. As I said, for the 6 hours, and longevity would get you a work shift, 6 to 8 hours, no doubt. Suitability, I would say, this is okay. This is rather versatile. This is much more versatile, I think, than Cedrat Boisé. I think you could wear this to the office. I don't see a problem with as a daytime fragrance. This really speaks to me more of like of any time, but more of a fall. I see it more of a seasonal fragrance than I do as a daytime versus nighttime. I guess if I had to choose, I would probably go nighttime, but you could easily wear this to the office. There's no problem there. But I see this as kind of a classic fall, maybe even winter fragrance. I don't really see this as a summer, spring. I'm not so much usually on seasons. Normally, I kind of go by if I like it, I like it. But this jumps out to me as really a cool weather / cold weather fragrance. Okay, age group. Actually, somebody on Fragrantica said if you're under 30, you would like this. So I guess maybe I don't like it because I'm just not young. But I would say for me, it's not so much. Well, first of all, it's marketed towards men and women, so it's a unisex as far as gender. And I agree with that. This is totally. If you believe in those distinctions, this is absolutely unisex. Age group, though. I really don't see this as a mature scent. I guess maybe college and above, but I mean, there's nothing stopping, high school student from wanting to wear this. But you would probably see it worn more on, I would say, 20, 25 and up. That's probably what I would imagine would be the market. But it's not a youthful or mature scent. There's nothing really that speaks anything to age, really, in this fragrance. One more thing I wanted to mention is the comparison to kind of apple note fragrances. One thing I would say is that I'm not a huge fan of apple, but or pear for that matter, because I saw some of them had pear. But I liked Boss Bottled a lot, and I really don't see this competing with that. I love Boss Bottled, love the notes, and if I'm gonna get an apple fragrance, I would get or an apple top note. I would go for that one absolutely. I would also consider Le Male. I think I don't know if it has apple or pear though. I don't remember. And I know it's more vanilla anyway. But this really just doesn't distinguish itself, I think, from the other fragrances. Ironically, I'm actually not a fan of Eros. I know Eros by Versace is really popular for you guys. I don't know what it is. I just don't care for it. So it must be just this type of fragrance that doesn't really work for me. Another reviewer on Fragrantica said that he felt like the dry down was similar to, well, actually he said exactly, to Givenchy Play Intense. And I wouldn't go that far, but I would say I can see that it's similar in the dry down. The opening notes, some people compare it to Pure Havana and Pure Malt. And again, I certainly wouldn't say that, but and Pure Malt and Pure Havana are much better fragrances in my humble opinion. So as you can see, whether it's vanilla or whether we're talking about more of the apple note, in the end, there are just, for me, better fragrances out there. And so I won't be purchasing this one. I wanted to read a quote to you from one guy, one person actually. It's Bishti, Bishti. So I don't know if it's a man or a woman. And this person said a quote that I think perfectly encapsulates this fragrance for me. Syrupy apple flavored with vanilla, cardamom, hint of florals in some puff pastry. All of this mixed with quality laundry detergent. Yeah, it's perfect. I really can't add to that. It's exactly on my skin how it works. I feel like it's a Tide Pod meets apple fritter. So no thank you. I won't be getting it. Out of this, I'm going to give this out of 5 sprays because I haven't put any on today. And I think I've got them. I think I've got some left. I think. We'll see. They'll make believe at the best. 2 sprays. 2 out of 5. 1. No, I don't have any left. There's 1. 1 and 2. I barely squeaked it out. Okay, so that is a wrap. That is Layton. Now, here's a counter argument. I'll just say in ending. It's 2 out of 5 for me. A lot of people really like this fragrance. In fact, it got 4.4 out of 5 on Fragrantica. So I don't know if it's a case of being overhyped or not, but it's a pass for me. I noticed that I think it was FragranceNet or FragranceX.com. It looks like you can get this pretty cheap. I don't know if I would full on say this is a safe blind buy. I would say get a sample, but the ratings are quite high on this one. So I guess if you like vanilla meets apple pie, then you should like this fragrance. If you kind of like that, then I would say then go with Boss Bottled or Le Male, because those are superb. You guys take care. I'm going to keep working on these reviews. I've got many more fragrances to sample for my first impression series. Hope you appreciate them. Always appreciate the feedback, comments. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great day. Take care.